What's up, guys? Back for the Star World video, and I know I am a day late to this. I do apologize. A lot of cool stuff happening for Star World right now. We got a bunch of new drip marketings for what 2.4, right? We got a new March form. We have a bunch of future characters being shown. We don't know their full designs, but we do have their silhouettes, and they do be looking kind of cool. So I didn't really have time to get around to this, right? Obviously, I don't want to spam like 5 videos a day on you guys, but we're finally here for what you should be farming for your double drops. So the first things first, the most important thing you should be farming is trace materials. Trace materials are way harder to get than the XP materials slash credits. You pretty much can get all of this stuff just from playing the game normally, doing new quests, yada yada. Obviously you can run out and you might need to farm them, but it's always more beneficial to farm traces just because of the fact that it's harder to get them. Trust me, the events do not give nearly enough to do anything with a character. I wish they honestly gave more trace materials from the events. Like, for example, let me pull up the Boot Hill event real quick. This one, right? This one drops the Hunt 3-star material, right? Not nearly enough to do really anything with Boot Hill, right? It'll probably save you like a run or two in the long run, but not anything crazy, right? And this is obviously the main event of the update. So the majority of your traces are going to come from this right here, and that's why it's really important, because while you can pretty much do anything to get XP through doing battles, I mean, it's not like a ton, but like eventually, in theory, you can completely level up character just from fighting enemies. This one, at least you can feed like 3-star Lycons in, technically, right? And that'll kind of work. And you can also just get these from doing anything, really. Traces, not so much. Dude, if enemies dropped the 2-star traces, like 1 or 2, that would be insane. Oh my lord. Obviously, they're never going to do that just because it costs stamina to farm these. But, you know, in the future, no, I'm pretty cool. You know, they're pretty cool. They're pretty cool. Maybe when we've, like, there's like 5 different versions of, like, the preservation material. Maybe they could start dropping the old ones, you know, that'd be cool. But anyway, regardless of that, you should be farming traces. Now, for what characters you should be farming traces, obviously that's going to be up to who you're building. I always recommend building up your DPS first because it's easier to have a healer or sustain do somewhat of their job than it is to not have the DPS do their job and try to have your sustain, like, sort of quote-unquote carry, right? If your DPS is doing damage, more than likely they can kill the enemy before they kill you. If your healer is the best thing on your team, you're going to take too long, and eventually you're probably going to die, right? So always get your DPS up. Otherwise, if you're worried about who to farm now, the Destruction one is good for Firefly. The whatchamacallit, blah, 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 this one right here, the Harmony one, is good for Ron May, who is also rerunning with Firefly. If you're not summoning for them, you're summoning for Jade or Argenti. Unfortunately, on Jade's end, you can't farm her yet, right? But, where is it? Right here. You can farm this for Argenti if you are summoning for Argenti. Otherwise, it's pretty much just going to be on a, you know, account-to-account basis. But remember, always farm up your DPSs first. Trust me, when I started the game, I had Sushang, Sampo, Bailu, and Jeopard as my team. And I decided to get Bailu and Jeopard out because they're 5 stars. And, let's just say, kind of took me a while to kill stuff, right? Obviously, if I had a 5-star DPS, I probably would have got them up first. But if I would have, you know, put more time into getting, like, Sushang or Sampo up at the beginning, I probably would have cleared stuff a little bit quicker. I pretty much never died, right? Unless it was, like, a simulated universe boss and they're, like, hitting really, really hard, right? But regardless of that, that's pretty much the go-to when it comes to double drop rates. The double drop rate isn't as crazy as the relic one, in my opinion. To be fair, this one is guaranteed, so I guess it is more helpful. But I find myself not really struggling to get the materials because while they are guaranteed, so you are getting it done faster, I've never really stressed over getting traces. It is annoying and it does take a while, but when it comes to something like relics, I know people always meme it's like, oh, double drop rate, more like double relic, you know, XP or double relic shards to make new relics. At least with that one, since it's more RNG, getting the double drops can be rather helpful versus traces where it's just time saving in a sense, right? If you know what I mean. Regardless, I'll definitely take this because this will help me with my Firefly farming. I have 29 of this, I have 180 of that, and then I have 227 of that. I should probably synthesize these and see how far off I am. Once I'm done with this, I'm probably just going to get some other characters that maybe I will finally finish my Ting Yen And I think Bronya technically has our basic attack level 1. I might as well get that maxed out, right? So I'm probably going to be farming this. Hopefully I can get Firefly done before the double drops end. But anyway, that'll pretty much be it. Let me know in the comments what you guys are farming. If you're farming for Firefly, if you're on May, Argenti, if you're waiting for Jade. Oh, another thing really quickly, if you really don't have anything to farm, like let's say you love Jade, she's your favorite character, and you want to try and pre-farm for her because, you know, whatever it may be, it's not the greatest idea because her material actually comes out with Firefly, so you'll be able to farm it then. But let's just say in the future you want to farm for a character who drops with their material, right? Like let's say Firefly's thing wasn't out and this dropped when the next update dropped. You have no way of farming. You're like, oh man, that sucks. You know, I don't want to waste stamina in a sense. What you can do is you could farm one that you aren't going to use and go to the synthesis. I don't recommend always doing this, but if you really insist on it, you can go to the synthesis right here, the material exchange, and you can say, okay, I need this one, click on this, and then you could feed 2 and you'll get 1 from it. I'm not going to do it, right, because obviously I'd rather keep this material, but if I have a bunch of Nihility ones, right, screw it, I'll do it for this, right, and then we synthesize, and right there you see I got 1 of that. So you could do that, but it's technically a net loss. But if you really need it, you can do that. I know a couple people who were pre-farming stuff and they decided to do this. Like, for example, I overfarmed the Nihility stuff. I was tempted to do it. Let me just go to this one, right? This one for Acheron, and then we did the Acheron event. It was like the first anniversary. We got a ton of Nihility stuff, and I already pre-farmed Black Swan and Acheron completely. So I have like a billion of these, right? You know, it wouldn't be too crazy if I did that. I know a couple friends who did that for, I'm trying to remember who it was. I think it was Black Swan, because Black Swan dropped with her trace material, right, which is kind of annoying. Like, I understand it, but it's like, it sucks not being able to pre-farm, because when you pull the character, not being able to use them, I don't know why I went to characters with the warp, like summoning for Boot Hill, super cool. You pull him and then it's like, oh well, his trace material just came out, I can't use him or at his max power for about a week. Same with the fact that there are light cones in it. It does kind of suck. But anyway, that'll pretty much be it for the video. Let me know what you guys are farming in the comments. Like I said, are you pre-farming for, you know, a character in the future? Are you farming for a character you have now? Are you farming XP? By the way, one last thing, if you are going to be farming books or weapon XP or credits, make sure you're farming it on the right planet to get these materials if you do you know, need them. Obviously you can do this from assignments, so like as you say, I have a million, but that is a easy mistake to make. These are pretty helpful, especially if you're a new player and you need a bunch of this material. But nice. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all in the next Star Wars video.